Well, hey there, boys and girls, and welcome to another episode of Learn BMX Racing. My name is Eric, and this episode is a track review of Yucaipa BMX in lovely Yucaipa, California. Most of this video is being shot at a Gold Cup qualifier race in the summer of 2021. So, like most of the track review videos, let's start out by showing you exactly how to get here. The easiest way to find a BMX track is to come to learnbmxracing.com and click here on BMX racetracks and then go to Map of United States BMX Tracks. And that presents you with this map, which has every single track in the entire country. So let's click here and we'll go full screen on the map, and then we can zoom in to Yucaipa BMX. Down in Southern California, just outside of Los Angeles. Right here we can see Yucaipa is located in San Bernardino County. It's just east of the city of San Bernardino. It is east of Los Angeles. It is south of Hesperia and Apple Valley, and no matter how you get to Yucaipa BMX, sooner or later you're going to probably be on the 10 freeway, right? You might take the 15 out of the north and come down to the 10, or you might take the 215 up from the south and get to the 10, but no matter which direction you're coming from, you're going to be on the 10. And then you get off at Yucaipa Boulevard, and we come over this way, and you can see this is the intersection where you'll be making a left-hand turn onto 13th Street. And if we go to the satellite view, you can see the track is right here. Now, here's something that's really odd about the location of the track. This street right here with this cul-de-sac at the end, that's where the track is at, okay? We zoom in here, we can see there's the cul-de-sac, and here's the entrance into the parking lot. This street does not have a name, which I didn't even notice until I started putting this video together. So this is 13th Street. But this street doesn't have a name, and there aren't even street signs on the intersection corner to tell you the name of the street, which is really odd. But plenty of people come to the track, so I guess everybody figures it out. It is the only street, by the way, when you come up Yucaipa, it's the only street off of 13th, so you're not going to miss it. So you come in this way, and there's a number of different places to park. So if we look at the track, now, the track itself does have parking, but there are very, very few parking spaces. There's like 20 parking spaces. So a lot of people do park along the street. Street parking here is allowed. Some people actually park in this empty lot here. And if there's a really big race, you can park in this parking lot and you can park here. Now, this kind of dirt field that you see, that's no longer a dirt field. This is actually a big asphalt parking lot, but the satellite photos are just not up to date, so you don't see the asphalt. But those are all your options for parking when you get to Yucaipa. And one final note regarding ways to get into Yucaipa BMX, there is also an entrance right here along the fence line. You'll notice that there is a gate that is in that spot, so you can come through this gate and you'd walk all the way around to the sign-up booth that way if you don't come down past the cul-de-sac and in through that parking lot. So that is an alternative way to get in and out of the track. Ordinarily, whenever I make these kind of videos, I like to show you the surrounding area, and I like to zoom in on a street view to let you see what everything looks like, but that's kind of pointless with Yucaipa because the track is so new that the street view doesn't show you anything. So as you can see here, when we zoom into the street view, there's nothing there. It is just a great big empty field because this imagery was taken in March of 2012, and 9 years ago the track didn't exist yet. And right here I can prove what I was saying about there not being any street name for this street. Here, if we zoom in on the street view, we could see that this road right here is the one that you'll go down to get to the track. And you can see on this corner, no street sign, nothing telling you the name of the road, nothing on this corner,
Nothing here. Look, 360 degrees, there are no street signs. So this does give you a good view of the other alternate parking lots, though. As I said, this lot right here is now asphalt, and this lot right here actually is going to be paved very soon. So by the time you watch this video, that could be asphalt as well. So when you head down to the end of this street, that's the cul-de-sac by the track. Here we are standing in the cul-de-sac and kind of panning over to the driveway and the parking lot of Yucaipa. So you can see not a huge parking lot. Like I said, maybe about 20 cars can fit in there. But this is sort of the main entrance that everybody comes in at. And as we zoom in, if you look where the arrow is pointing right there, that gray building in the background is the sign-up booth. Now we'll take a quick ride through the parking lot and come all the way up through the facility so we can see here, starting out in the parking lot area, and on our right-hand side we have the sign-up booth. And as we come through here, you can see we got these porta potties on the right, and we've got the moto boards attached to the fence. And then on the left-hand side, we have this keep clear area that is right after the finish line. And then here we can see the staging area. We've got all 10 areas for staging. Over on the right, you'll notice there is a walkway, and that leads up to another spectator area. And after we come through the canopy staging area, we are on top of the starting hill. As I move into the start gate here, I think the only criticism that I have about the start gate is that it's a little bit slippery. So you'll notice it's made of kind of a stainless steel, and they have these kind of bits of grip tape. You can see these bands on either side of the grating, and that's designed to, help your feet because it's really kind of slick. But everything else about the gate is really great. I mean, the grating is very grippy where your bike is at, and the angle of the grate and the angle of the gate rather is really, really good. And as soon as the gate drops, we have our 30 feet of asphalt, and then it comes into a roller, and then it comes into this kind of step-up triple. And then we come into the first turn, which is really wide and paved. It's probably the only thing I don't like about the track is the asphalt turns. But the second straight is awesome. I love that drop down right there. And then there's a cool double, another cool double. And then the turns get progressively tighter. So this turn is quite a bit tighter than that first one. And then the rhythm section is really lippy, really steep. So you got to make sure you push down really hard on your front tire so you don't do wheelies. And then this third turn is super tight. And this last straightaway is really short. The only obstacle in it is the tabletop, and then you cross the finish line. And wow, that was a very, very short, very quick track. But you're right back to the start. Returning back to the entrance area, let's kind of orient you through this a little bit better. So you can see that the sign-up booth right here actually has a wheelchair ramp along with steps. And on the left-hand side, we have two sign-up windows, which is really nice because it makes it go a lot faster to get through your sign-ups. And then on the right-hand side, we have the snack bar window, and they've got a lot of good stuff at this track for the snack bar. And then right in front of the sign-up booth, in front of the wheelchair ramp there, you'll see that there are bike racks. Now, these bike racks are kind of odd, and if you try to put your bike in with the front tire, it will tend to fall over. So always put your bike in with the back tire. You'll notice 90% of the bikes in the rack have the back tire in first. And then this part is kind of on the opposite side of where the camera was just set up. And if you go to the left, there's a spectator area. But then if you come over here to the right, you see another angle of the sign-up booth. So you have the ramp and you have the steps, and then you have the rules and the signage right there on the railing. And we can get a close-up of all the signs and all the rules so that you can see the basics of the signage here at Yucaipa and know what all the guidelines are for all of the spectators and what is expected of everyone regarding the rules of the track. Speaking of signs, I've always been a big fan of this one. I really love the kind of parody stickers and parody signs in BMX. I think it's great. And right here we see the wheelchair ramp leading up to the sign-up booth. And then after this, we have a shot from on top of the deck. So we're kind of looking out towards the second turn right there, and as we come around, you can see here on the left-hand side we've got moto boards that are attached to the fence. We have 3 porta potties there in the middle, and then here on the right we have the podium area where you can take pictures after your race. Here's a sign of all the things that are available at the snack bar, so you get kind of a good idea of what they have on hand at any given time. And the snack bar, I think, has a really good variety compared to a lot of other tracks. And here are the basic rules for pretty much every single BMX track, all the basic rules of what your bike needs to have and what you need to be wearing. And here we can get a little shot inside of the clubhouse and sign-up booth. They have a good little facility there in back with some parts and things to work on bikes. They have loaner helmets if you're brand new and you don't have a helmet and you need one to wear. And then you can also see all the snack bar things that are available, so you can kind of poke your head in and look at what you want and make your decision from there. So it's a nice little clubhouse sort of setup, and really gives you a lot of options in regards to the snack bar and things that you can rent at the track. Let's take a walk from the parking lot to that sort of side spectator area. So when you come up through the parking lot, if you go immediately to the right, we have the sign-up booth. But if you go to the left along this fence, you can see that there are some ease-ups that are set up along here. And as we come down a little bit further along the fence line and you look over to the left, you see a bunch of bleachers. So this is a great place to watch the race. You have a really clear view of the second straight, as you can see right here. And this is an excellent place to just hang out and be able to watch the races. And here is a different shot, different angle in the same sort of section. And you can see a few people have set up some ease-ups on the bleachers themselves to give themselves some shade. But you really get a nice, clear view of the whole track from right here. You can see the finish line clearly. You can see the start hill really clearly. And obviously everything that's right in front of us, the second straight, also shows up really, really nice. The dedication plaque in the corner of this spectator area is dedicated to a BMX rider who was a local at Yucaipa, and it's a nice little commemoration for one of the BMX racers that grew up in this area and enjoyed BMX around here. Starting by the finish line, let's kind of give you a good overview of the finish line to the staging area and the start hill. So with the finish line, we got this whole section you can see where it's painted and says keep clear, which is really great. It is a fantastic idea. If you've ever been in a BMX track and people kind of get a little too congested by the finish line, you really understand why that's a useful thing to do. And as we come over, panning to the right, here we can see little kids waving at us, and we also see this walkway. This is the walkway I mentioned that was just recently added in the past few months by moving the fence out a little bit. And this shot is actually taken from the walkway looking down into the staging area. So the canopy is a fantastic addition. I'm really glad that they have that because it can get pretty toasty in Yucaipa. So it's always a welcome thing on those hot summer days to be able to stage in the shade. It definitely makes it a lot more comfortable. And here we got a nice close-up of some of the kids getting ready at this Gold Cup race. This race was actually done as block racing, which means that different categories and classes were assigned to show up at the track at different times. And that just makes it a little bit easier when the facility is so tight like this and there's not a lot of room, there's not a lot of space, so it makes it a lot easier to sort of regulate when people are showing up. And you just saw a few moments ago the gate operator's booth is located to the right, and for this shot you can see the flag is mounted right over the gate operator's booth, so he has a good clear shot of the gate and can take care of everything from that point. So if we pull back a little bit further up on the hill right here, you can kind of get a good area of this kind of grassy knoll sort of thing. Well, it's not so grassy anymore. It's it's a dirt knoll at this point, but this is a really, really nice area where people can just kind of hang out. They can set up their ease-ups on these really busy race days. And you can see there's nice trees and shade, and there's always kids climbing in these trees and making some pretty great memories, I can imagine, as all of my memories, and I'm sure yours, of being a kid and climbing in trees and frolicking in the woods. So it's a really cool spot for people to just hang out and have a picnic and set up their chairs and watch the races, from this whole area. So now that we've kind of gone over this in a broad view, let's take a walk through this whole section. So here we're coming up the walkway that is right next to staging, and this is on a regular race day, so that's why it's not quite as crowded as it was at the Gold Cup. So it's a good perspective because you can also see what it's like when it's not completely filled up with people. So right here you can see the start hill on the left-hand side of the screen, and you can see the gate operator's booth right there. And this is a really good area to check things out. You can see there on the right-hand side we've got some bleachers. And this shot kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like from the bleachers. This is one of my absolute favorite spots on the whole track. Just in terms of the view, I think it's so great that you see all the mountains in the background and you got the whole track laid out before you. It's really great. And then here we can see the Strider track, which has been paved. And as we come right here underneath the trees, you can see there's some picnic benches and some more ease-ups all set up along this fence, and another great area just to be able to set up and watch friends and family race. And as we spin around here, we can see these other porta potties, and right between the porta potties is that alternative gate that I had mentioned. So this is the other entrance and exit to and from the track. And as we come around this way, we get another good look at the Strider track, and we can see a little toddler right there getting ready to take a run and go around the track. So he's having some fun. And Here we can see again some of the trees and another picnic table. So again, this is just a really nice area to hang out in. You've got a lot of room and you can sort of set your stuff up and relax and have all the trees in the shade, and it's just a great area of the track. Here I'm going to get a little redundant. I'm going to show this angle again because, like I said, I absolutely love this view of the track, standing up along the fence up here where the bleachers are at. I mean, to me, this is like the quintessential California BMX track because it's just so nice. You know, you have the mountains back there, you can see the entire track, you can see this sort of vista of the valley and part of the high school back there, and it's just so cool. You know, this is the kind of view that I would imagine, you know, back when I was living in Ohio and fantasized about what it would be like to race BMX in California. That's kind of what it would look like. So here we have another shot of the Strider track, and we're going to sort of walk back the opposite direction of where we came the first time. So the reason I want to show you this is because this shot was taken on the day of the Gold Cup qualifier. So now we have a heck of a lot more people. It's a lot more busy. So it gives you sort of a better idea and a better feel for what Yucaipa is like on one of these much bigger race days. So you can see everybody sort of camping out, taking advantage of the shade of the trees and having all their ease-ups. And right here on the right-hand side, we can see the back side of the bleachers. And you see that there's another bike rack that's right there, right in front of us. And again, same style as all the bike racks at Yucaipa. You want to put your bike in by your rear tire and not your front. I learned that the hard way. And here again, we have the favorite shot of mine overlooking the whole track and getting a nice view of everything. And as we sweep around here, you can see another good shot of the bleachers, and it really gives you good perspective of just how high this hill is. The whole Grassy knoll thing, I keep calling it the Grassy knoll. I don't think anybody else calls it that. Just me. But you can see that it is significantly higher than the track, so it does give you a really nice overview of everything. We'll throw in another relatively redundant shot right here. We don't really need this because I think you have a good idea of the orientation of the track, but I just think it looks cool, so I just kind of wanted to leave this one in here. We will walk a little bit down the hill back the other way so that we can get to the starting gate. And if you see that little girl that's down there right in the left-hand corner, that is my buddy Emily. She's this really sweet kid from Nevada, and her brother races BMX. Emily is a fan of my YouTube videos and started chatting with me at the track, and she has not started racing yet, but I'm hoping that she decides to do so very soon. So here, again, another interesting shot, kind of a cool angle of the starting hill. I just thought this was neat, and so I wanted to leave it in the video. And this video is about 40 minutes long. It used to be about 50 minutes long, so I did cut out a lot of stuff, but this was one that I really wanted to keep, just because I thought it was cool.
Ball in the 705. Oh, that was Nelson? Oh, my bad. Was that the 30? 30, I'm sorry. I had the wrong one, my bad. We scored it right. That's why we got a second scorekeeper. I'm half blind and can't see out the other eye. Yeah. That's why they don't let me go downhill. Otherwise, the Ray Holmes would be called a Mike Miller. You know what I mean? Gate down. We got room for 4. 181 bike Dixon out in front right now. Going to be Dixon. We got room for 4. Hi, Meg. Dixon out in front, got company, going to make a pass on the inside. That's going to be the 322 bike. We've got 300 bike. That's going to be Aguilar. In and out of the last turn, bringing it back this way. Going to go the 300, 181, 884, and the 610.
The announcer at the track is Mike Miller, and I left that clip in just so you could hear how incredibly good the sound system is at this track. So here we have the walking tour of the track, and we come down the initial start hill into a little roller, then there's a little bit of flat bottom, and then it's an unusual triple right here where the middle is a little bit higher than the other two. So you could say it's a step up, step down, but it's a unique kind of triple. And it's a rather short first straight, and that leads us right into the first turn, which is a paved turn. And you can actually kind of see the line of the pavement to the dirt. And this track tour is one where I'm walking really slow through this one because I like to have people on the track. I like to have a bike, rolling through, because I think it helps with the perspective. And it makes it easier to understand what's happening with the track. But when I shot this, it just so happened to be between blocks of the block racing, so there just weren't a lot of people riding the track, which is kind of weird because this is a super busy day with, a crazy amount, hundreds of people were riding, but they just weren't at this particular moment. So this is probably my favorite part of the whole track, the second straight. This hill that comes down after the double is actually pretty steep, and it's kind of hard to tell from this angle with the wide angle lens. It doesn't really do it justice, but it's a lot of fun. I like kind of flying down that, and then it comes into the double that you see right after that. Then of course after the double that we're currently looking at, it has a little bit of a straightaway, a little bit of flat, and it goes up into another double, which leads us into the second turn. And as I said earlier, the layout of this track, all the turns get progressively tighter. So second turn is tighter than the first, and then we come here into the rhythm section. The rhythm section is very lippy. Unlike most tracks where you really tend to lean backwards as you go through the rhythm and pump through, on this one you kind of have to push down on your front tire so that your front wheel doesn't come off the ground. So just something to note, especially if you've never been to this track and on your first lap, for example, take it easy. Take it easy going through the rhythm, and you'll notice all the riders are doing that. They're really kind of leaning forward more than you typically see on most tracks and most rhythm sections. And then the final turn is super tight. I really like the shape of the final turn. It's a lot of fun. And then this final straightaway is incredibly short. The only obstacle is this tabletop right here. And then that's it. As soon as you cross over the tabletop, there's another brief paved section, and then you cross the finish line. And then to the left of the finish line there, you can see we have the announcer's booth set up as well. Now, one big misconception about this track is that some people think the whole thing is paved. It is not. If you look really closely right here, for example, at the lip on the tabletop, you can see that that is dirt. So the truth is that the entire track is glued. The whole track is soil tacked, but they really saturated the track with soil tack. So it's still dirt, and you can see right here, there's a seam between the dirt and the asphalt. So we got asphalt on the right, and we have soil tacked dirt on the left. And as much as I complain about asphalt, I don't really mind the soil tack, because technically, well, it is still a dirt track. I do think that maybe it was kind of overdone. That's a little too much soil tack, because like you said, some people actually think it's asphalt. So yeah, maybe they put on a little too much soil tack, but you know, I still think it's cool. I don't mind that it's soil tacked, but I just wanted to kind of show these close-ups to make people see the cracks and the kind of breaks in there, because it is still dirt. I always like showing the sponsorship banners at a track, because I feel like, you know, any kind of companies that have put forth the effort to sponsor the track definitely deserve a little notoriety in the video and deserve some credit. So the next piece that I'm going to show you is something that's very unique to Yucaipa. They do what they call pump races, where the riders don't pedal at all throughout the entire course of the track. And the pump races are kind of cool, so let's check one of those out.
Alright, everybody ready? Yeah. Alright, here we go. Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready? Go, Miley.
Gate down, looks like Kennedy's got a wheel out in front of this one. Hoosier down on the inside. Emily Roberts, Smiley Haynes is in the mix. Kennedy. Hoosier out in front. Watch the feet, watch the feet. Smiley Haynes. Kennedy, Roberts. In and out of the last turn. Gonna go Hoosier, Haynes, Kennedy. Roberts. Lee.
And I'm proud to say, as decent American citizens, this track always does a parade lap. Another thing that I really like about Yucaipa is that when they do the Strider races, they actually run the Striders and the balance bikes on the main track. Now, Yucaipa's not the only track that does this. There are a few BMX tracks that do this sort of thing, but I just always think it's kind of nice because I think the little kids appreciate it. You know, they probably really like being on the big boys track, you know, and I think it's kind of cool that they do it that way. So you can see from these clips, you know, they start them on the top of the tabletop and then run everything backwards. So it's just kind of a cool thing to do. The Strider track, I've showed that to you a couple of times, and that's really just a practice track. When they're actually doing races, the balance bikes are all here on the main track.
Every time I do a review of a track and tell you all about the positive and negative things at that track and how to get there and all of that stuff, I really like to take the time to interview the track operator as well. I think it's a good idea for you to know who is actually in charge of the facility and hear the story about what the track is like from their point of view.
Hi, I'm Tim Hansen from Yucaipa BMX. We started the project here in 2009. And it actually took us 7 years to get the track built. This year, in 4 days, will be our 5th anniversary. So we are excited to have it here. We're proud of what we built, and we hope everybody comes out and checks it out if you haven't been out here already.
Hi, my name is Missy Skibell, and I am the track operator here with Tim Hansen. I'm not sure what year it was, but we moved here when my son was in 6th grade. And he had been racing since he was 5, and there was nothing to do in Yucaipa. So Tim, myself, Matt, and Wendy Montgomery started working with the city. He was a senior in high school by the time we got the property, got the track built, and he's now graduated from college. So we're here for the kids. It's all for the kids.
Although I've been racing BMX for about 2 years, I've only been coming to Yucaipa for about 6 months or so. And one of the things that struck me the most when I came here, and I've actually heard a lot of other people say the exact same thing, and that is just how well run this track is. I mean, everything about it is really running like clockwork. Everything is meticulous in the way that they maintain stuff, and that's something that stands out a lot to me after going to a bunch of other tracks. And you know, that's not insulting other tracks. I mean, other tracks, they put forth a heck of a lot of effort and a heck of a lot of work too, but there's something about Yucaipa that's kind of special, that the volunteers really run this place like it's a top-notch, first-class facility.
Hi, my name is Mike Miller. I'm the announcer here at Yucaipa BMX, and I love being involved with Yucaipa BMX. We do a lot of great things out here for newer riders and experienced riders alike, but we do beginner clinics. I like watching the riders who have never been on a bike or on a track before come out here for the first time, do one of my beginner clinics, and then I start to see them sign up and start practicing, and then they start racing, and I see them progress through novice, then intermediate, then some of them into experts, and start moving on to bigger races. And it really excites me to come back and see them back here at the local track with a Gold Cup plate or a low number the next year, and maybe on a team and starting to have fun. So I really think the environment here at Yucaipa BMX is really suited for people who want to come out and get into the sport and get started, and you know, we do everything we can. We got a lot of people here, Shane Harlow, Joseph Warren, Chad Harper, they're all out here, and they're always willing to help newer riders and coach them through, even just with little tips here and there for, you know, no charges. It's just more of a, hey, you should do this, you should do that, try this, try that. Hey, I saw you did this in your race, it would be better if you tried this and see what happens. And so it's a lot of under the table coaching going on around here. It's really kind of cool, and the environment around here is just great. And come on out, give it a shot. We'd love to have you.
With every review that I do, I like to give the overall length of the entire track. It's something that people always seem to be curious about, and nobody ever knows how long a given track is. So let's measure out Yucaipa. I know this is one of the shorter tracks in Southern California. So if we start right here at the very start of the starting hill, we come down the first straight into the first turn, and then we come down the second straight. We're coming into the second turn, we get into the rhythm section, and then we come through the final turn, and the finish line, I believe, looks like it's right about there. So we're looking at about 750 feet for the overall length of Yucaipa BMX. One of my favorite things to cover with these videos is to look at the history of the track and see how the facility has changed over the years and sort of look at how everything evolved. Now, with Yucaipa, well, there's actually not a whole lot of history because this track is so new that not much has changed. Now, this particular image was taken about 9 months ago, 9 months before this video was shot, and that was December of, or no, excuse me, not December, that was October of 2020. And the one big difference between then and now that they have altered is this fence line right here. You can see that the fence is really tight up against the staging area, and now the fence kind of extends out a little bit, so there's more room for spectators to get up to the grassy knoll area. If we go back to April of 2020, we could see that the Strider track right in here is still made of dirt. So back then, the Strider track hadn't been paved yet. In October of 2016, the entire track was still dirt. You can see here that the turns are still brown in color. They're not black. they're not asphalt. So that's another change that happened shortly after the track was put together. And if we go back a little earlier in 2016, in February, you can see they were actually working on building the track at this time. You can see they're actually in the process of constructing it. And a lot of things are missing. We don't have the sign-up booth here yet. You know, there's still some equipment that you can see sitting around the facility. So this is when the thing was still being worked on in February of 2016. When we go back to 2014, you can see there's no track. Here we have all the details and contact information for Yucaipa BMX, and it looks like maybe they do have an address. Maybe Thunderbird Trail, maybe the street does have a name after all. But this is all the stuff that you need to know to be able to get in touch with the track. And as always, make sure that you check up on this, because you never know when schedules and times might have changed. So always double check before you head out to the track.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Learn BMX Racing. I want to thank Tim and all the volunteers at the track who make this place run so smooth and who were so great and helpful and cooperative in me shooting this video. And when you come out to this track or to any other, folks, don't ever forget that your good old days are happening right now.